Hi everybody and welcome back. My name's Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Today is a violin review on the Cecilio CVN600 violin, which is this one here. So I've done a few other Cecilio violin reviews for you. I'll put all the links in the description bar underneath, as well as the links where you can buy this from Amazon. First of all, I just want to go through what the company say that you get, which I'm just looking at their website there. So it's hand oil varnish flamed one-piece back violin outfit. That's what they say. They say it's hand carved select fine grain solid spruce top, hand carved select one-piece highly flamed solid maple back and sides. So your maple back and your sides that you've got there. Hand rubbed oil finish, hand inlaid purfling, ebony fingerboard pegs and chin rests, so that's quite nice. But then for this kind of price you would expect everything to be ebony anyway. Ebony tailpiece with mother of pearl inlaid and 4 gold plated fine tuners. So you've got a little mother of pearl kind of piece here, and you've got your 4 gold plated fine tuners, which are really nice to use actually. And you've got your D'Addario prelude strings, which come as standard on this. It says it only comes in full size, 4/4 size only, and it says here that the wood is aged a minimum of 7 years. So you know you're going to get fairly decent sound. Most of the sound that you get from violins are all in the quality of the wood and obviously the craftsmanship as well, but it's mainly the wood that you're going to get that sound from. So this violin, I believe, is a medium to kind of high-end sort of violin. The recommended price they have on their website is $1,000. So, I mean, that's just the recommended price. So I'm sure it's probably cheaper in Amazon. I'll have to confirm the price for you. I'll put some links either underneath or coming up on the screen, the price that I can find it currently retailing in the shops for at this moment. I think this violin would probably suit a more, I don't want to say advanced player. It would suit an advanced player. It's difficult to say how far this violin would go up to be honest, because I haven't actually had this violin very long. A violin like this, you need to sort of play in and warm up so that you can get the best tones and the best harmonics from the wood and the violin, but I haven't been able to do that. Obviously, I mean, in the ideal world, I'd have months and months and months to be able to play a violin in the way I want to, so that I would be able to get the best sound for you. But I definitely do think this is a very nice violin. It's not a beginner violin. Having said that, beginners are welcome to buy this violin, but it's not purposefully aimed, I think, at a beginner violin. So definitely for the more kind of intermediate advanced player, or if you've had a student violin and you've bought something for kind of, you know, 50 quid or 100 quid or I don't know, $60, $150, something like that, and now you're looking for the next thing to buy, then this little baby is probably something that would suit you, and it would probably, it might not be the last violin that you would ever buy, but it would certainly be a violin that would last you a very, very long time. If you wanted to just jump straight in there and bypass the student beginner quality violins, then again, this would be a nice little outfit for you to buy. I mean, it has everything that you need. It has a shoulder rest in the case as well. It comes with 2 bows, comes with one of those oblong cases, so it's quite nice. And it's quite nice inside and everything. The finish of the violin is really nice. I really like the look of it and everything, and you can definitely tell there's some nice quality in here. Everything from the finish to the bridge, to the strings, to the tuners, to you know, the pegs have a nice little detailing on the side of them as well. The pegs are quite nice to tune. They'll get better as you tune the violin more as well anyway. And I think definitely this is one of these violins that are going to warm up as you play, and then you'll be able to get a really nice sound out of this as well. But at the moment I don't know what that is, because I haven't been playing it for months and months. To be honest, when I'm doing my professional gigs, I tend to go back to obviously my professional violin that I use and that I'm comfortable with and that I know. So yeah, you could buy this if you're a beginner, or this would definitely suit an intermediate to advanced player, and this would last you a very, very long time as well. So I'm going to play a few little samples for you. I'll just dip in and out of some songs and things and cut into them so you can hear what it's going to sound like, and then I should go through some pros and cons. of me playing the violin, I'm going to go through some pros and cons with you. The pros, the violin looks really nice, everything about it feels really nice, the finish, as I've said before, is really nice. Everything's ebony, everything is just made really nicely. I like the fact that you have 4 tuners on there. I think with this kind of violin it wouldn't necessarily be necessary to have the 4 tuners on there. If this was aimed at an intermediate kind of player, you'd probably be tuning your own violin with the pegs and things, which I have done, and it is quite nice to tune it with the pegs, but I mean, if there are fine tuners, I use the fine tuners anyway. Mine doesn't have any fine tuners on the D, the G and the A string. I only have one on the E string, which would normally come as standard anyway. So the whole violin is really nice to tune. I think it keeps its tuning really well, which is probably a lot to do with the peg action going on here and the strings that you've got as well. Some strings can be really notorious for losing their tuning and everything. The strings are nice that you've got on here as standard. They're the Dario Preludes, if I'm not mistaken, which I think, the Dario Prelude strings, yes. I think if you wanted to put something like some Parastro Obligatos or some Parastro Evas or something, Eva Parazzis, then I think you would probably get on the G string. I felt if you had a nice Obligato G string, Parastro Obligato G string, they're not cheap though, the single G strings. I have one on my violin and it just makes the G string sing. This has quite a nice high end, it has quite a nice low end, although I think the higher up the register I was going on the lower end, it was getting a little bit harder to work with. However, I think if you had an obligato string, if you had it in say a high tension, and obligatos are gut core strings, so they tend to be really warm, and if you had it in high tension, you wouldn't have to work so hard with the fingers if you were doing any particularly high passage work on the G string. And I think that would make this violin sound really nice. As far as how the sound goes, I like it. It's quite nice and warm. It's quite mellow sounding as well. I wouldn't say it was sweet. I wouldn't say it was particularly bright, but I would say it was quite, I'd say it was more of the deeper kind of warmer end. It does play really nice on the E string, and maybe I think with a brighter set of strings, I think if you could look for something brighter, Parastro Tonicas are really bright, but they might not be the quality that you might want to put on a violin like this. So it would just be a case of just experimenting with types of strings and everything that would bring out you probably want to bring out more brightness, so you get a little bit more life out of the violin. So you could easily do that with a set of strings and everything. But I mean, as it is, I mean, it's a fantastic instrument, and I think it's very well aimed at the audience that it's aimed for, and the pricing is just great for what the violin is as well. I think if you got this, you wouldn't be disappointed because it comes completely set up. So you literally pull it out of the box, you tune it up, and then you're pretty much good to go, aren't you? So yeah, it's a great little violin for that. Just trying to think, anything else that I need to mention on it. Cons. I can't really think of any kind of particular cons of this violin as such. I guess I might like it to have just a little bit more character, perhaps for the pricing and the kind of audience that it's aimed at. Having said that, if you want even more character, then that means you're looking for something a little bit more specific. So then you kind of need to shop around a little bit and see what you like. It's all complete personal preference. But again, that goes back to the pricing, doesn't it? If you want something with more character, then you're looking at you're looking at paying more money. You're looking at something a little bit more than this. I think Cecilio actually do another one above this, maybe another 2 or something above this as well. So you can get something better than this, and that will give you more sound out of it. So again, it just goes back to where it sits and where it's aimed at. So for example, student quality violins, the Mendini that they have, which is $63, which is a lovely violin. It doesn't have any scratch and anything. I've done a review on that, links underneath if you want to go and listen to that one as well. But there is no flavour with that one, for example. But for $63, you wouldn't expect any particular flavour sound out of those violins. But yeah, the only thing about this, I suppose, is it doesn't have that much of a flavour, but for the price and everything, for what it does have, I think it's really nice. There isn't any scratch there. And I think this has the ability to stretch a bit further, which unfortunately I don't have the luxury of being able to do because it's not a violin that I play on all the time. I'm just simply demonstrating on it. But when you have it and you could think in 3 months' time after playing it, it will sound a lot better than it would do when you first got it out of the case. I think that's it really. Overall, I like the violin, I like the price, I like where it sits, I just really like everything about it. Like I said, I suppose, and it's not really a negative point, if you want to just, with these sorts of violins, if you want to try and get a little bit more out of them and squeeze more sound, you could play around with the strings and see if you can put some different strings on. It's not always worth doing that with the cheaper violins. Although having said that though, if you do put, say, a set of dominants, which are just a nice good old-fashioned set of strings, they're really good. They don't have a particular kind of flavour or any particular sound to them either. But if you put those on a student quality violin, it will improve it, but you won't particularly get any more out of it. So it doesn't seem worth it to spend a load of money on a really nice set of strings to put on a student quality violin, because you won't notice any difference. However, you will notice the difference from this one, because this isn't a whole new kind of ballpark. This isn't a whole new field of violins. So you've gone beyond your student violin now, and you're actually starting to get into violins that have had some thought put into them and everything in terms of the setup and the wood and the accessories that sit on the violin itself and everything. So if you wanted to experiment and get some different sounds out of this, which I think is definitely worthwhile doing, you could do that with this violin and you would hear the difference. And I think with the right set of strings, like I've said before, you can really make the violin sing. So there we go, that's my review on it. I hope this has helped you. Like I said, there are some other reviews that I've done on other violins, which I will put all the links in the description bar underneath, and the links of where you can buy this violin as well. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you all next time.